can hear the demons call when they do what they do. And now I feel like taking off, find a place with a view. The pain is never gonna stop if it's controlling you. I know that time can heal it all, I just gotta get through. I just gotta get through, I just gotta get through. Cause I feel like taking off, find a place with a view. The pain is never gonna stop if it's controlling you. I know that time can heal it all.
Alright, what's up guys? We're back for another episode of the CRF450L build. Currently this is how it's sitting. Got the Supermoto wheels on, engines in, camshafts in, suspensions on. That's pretty much it. I do have the rear brake on. X-Trig triple clamps are looking fresh. I'm probably going to throw on the handlebar next, and I'm going to be throwing on the wiring harness after that. So that's kind of going to be a daunting task. I'm not looking forward to it, but it's got to get done. So let's get to it. So I realized X-Trig sent me the wrong bar clamps. They sent me for a fat bar. So I had to go out and buy a brand new handlebar. Alright, handlebar is installed. This is the Windham bend. I don't really know much about the bends, but I didn't want something too high or too low, so this was in between.
I just gotta get through, cause I feel like taking off, find a place with a view. The pain is never gonna stop if it's controlling you. I know that time can heal it all, I just gotta get through. I just gotta get through. Gotta get through this, life is a nuisance, tie up some loose ends. I try to be human, find a solution, my evolution. A place like this, it didn't exist, we made it like this. So you can go pick the bad or the good, got a glass halfway. I know, it's easier to hide than just to lay low. Not everyone in life has got a halo. I'm standing in the red inside a payphone. Just wanna break, no, I'm not gonna give in, take a last shot.
Alright, so since I'm going Supermoto setup, I have to, every time I switch from dirt to Supermoto, I have to switch out this brake bracket, which is kind of an annoyance. It's pretty much the rotor on my Supermoto wheels is 320 millimeters, and I think the stock rotor, which this brake caliper bracket uses, is 280 millimeters. So I've been meaning to buy a 320 millimeter rotor, like pretty much the same rotor as this for my dirt setup, but then you now are sacrificing ground clearance from rocks and stuff like that, and I think a lot of front brake is not very important for the dirt, so I'm gonna keep switching this bracket every time. It sucks, but that's the part of having a one bike do all. Usually pretty quick at this, but I haven't done this since last year. I'm trying to remember how to do it. Swing the pads out first. Looks like I need some new brake pads. I think I have some somewhere, but I thought I ordered them. These ones still have some life, so I'm gonna leave them on for now. Alright, so this just slides out. There we go. And this is the Supermoto one. Slides in. I realize I don't have a boot there now. I think maybe this boot's probably supposed to stay on this side. This bracket didn't come with this pin, so I ended up ordering another one of these, I think, that came with a pin. So that way I didn't have to take the pin out every time. It would have been nice if I powder coated these. bracket's on. With these Supermoto wheels, not a lot of room here to slide the bracket in, so I'm just trying to keep the brake pads spread apart while shimmying it in there. This is the speed sensor. It's pretty much a 450L only thing. That reminds me, I still have to figure out how I'm going to mount the tack. Another thing with Supermoto setup is you run the brake line on the outside of the fork, and on dirt setup you run on the inside. So that way you don't rub it on the tire for Supermoto or catch it on trees and stuff for dirt. Alright, front turn signals. So I made this bracket last year, got rid of the factory signals and threw on this little amber signal. Pretty much just welded in a plate right there, cut this hole for this round plug. This is the original bracket for the signals. The headlight fairing bolts in right there. But on this triple clamp, I'm gonna have to just use one bolt instead of two. The other stock triple clamp used 2 bolts there, so I'm just gonna chop that off the top. So I just cut off this top tab, smoothed it out, and repowder coated it. And then this is the cluster bracket. I modified it a bit and then smoothed it out and powder coated it as well. So yeah, there was a couple tabs here I think I shaved off just for like wire clips or whatever, but pretty much this hole was already there. I oversized the hole and tapped it again for M6 bolts, and then I added this hole there. So I had the cluster in here in the bracket, and I just kept bending it in the vise and then checking it out here to see what it looked like. I think it's like this. Yes, like that. So once I have it on, I'll show you guys, but that's my cluster mount for now. Doesn't interfere with anything. The original one bolted underneath, so see how this works. Alright, there's the cluster mounted. Looks good position to me, I think. And these are the brackets that hold the headlight fairing and the signals. I just spliced in the original plug. Starting to come together. I'm really not looking forward to putting this in the bike. just been plugging away at this harness. Pretty much every single wire that is on the bike will plug into the harness. Some things I've bypassed or modified, example signals and some of the emission stuff. But up here, I was looking for what goes in this plug, and that's the speed sensor. I just found it hanging here. This goes to the headlight. I'm waiting to put that on still. I need to clean this all up before I mount the headlight. It's ready to mount, it's just I want to clean up the wiring. This is for the key switch, which usually mounts on the triple clamp here. I have not yet figured out what I'm doing with that, so I'm just going to leave this for now. Let me go around this way. I did put this little bracket back on. It holds the main harness like that, and then the clutch cable goes through that. It's funny, you don't really notice the routing of cable much until you have to do it. So you just take it apart and realize, like, oh shit. I still have the wires from the stator. I don't know what that is, maybe the trigger coil, I guess. And then this is the neutral switch, I believe. Kickstand switch, which I will be bypassing. I have to look at the wiring diagram for that. I mounted up this. This is a main chassis ground here, so I made sure not to powder coat that one spot. This is the rad fan connection. This was already plugged in, didn't have to do anything with that. The horn plugs in there. Came through over here. There's a wire that comes over here. So this is one of my, I guess, emission system deletes. This is like a plug. This is for the thermostat or temperature sensor. Thermostat delete. And then I looked at these. This was a little confusing. Before you put the harness in, before you put the throttle body in, because I just had to fight with one little bracket down in there to get it mounted and secure. You can do it with that mounted, but I suggest putting the harness in and then putting that in. So I just, like, this plug was confusing. I found that one. There's another one right there. This one I looked at a picture I had, it was gray. And I noticed this one was sitting right there. That one was still plugged in. This I'm not too sure where it goes. This I believe is my Bazaz harness. And then this starts to come back. Main ECU. I think that's the tip over sensor. I want to bypass that. And this comes back on the back fairing. So not too hard. Everything kind of just lines up to where it is located on the bike. Not one plug is the same. It should all be different, so you can't plug something in wrong. Yeah, so just slowly working at it. Painstaking task, but we'll get it done. Okay, so I've been fighting with this harness probably a couple hours now. I have the battery hooked up, ground wire coming back. So actually this is actually the starter cable to the starter. Yeah, it's just a lot of playing around. Figure out, like, I had to take this box back off to get the harness underneath this air boot. I zip tied all this to here. Well, I did, it was zip tied there. Just to stay organized. This is the bank angle sensor. The ECU is going to come up here. All this stuff is going to kind of mount in this area. But yeah, like, this is the worst part of this bike build, is this harness. It has all the road shit. Like, it's not like a dirt bike harness, it's a road bike harness. So it's got everything. I have a little bit more because I have the Bazaz system on here. The Bazaz, like, for example, it's just like a Dyno Jet power commander. Like, this is the factory plug, but then this is the Bazaz kind of jump ring between for the fuel injector. So that way the Bazaz can now inject the fuel and still get signal back to the factory ECU. So yeah, I'm trekking away at it, slowly putting certain plugs in certain areas. I have this harness over here. This is the Bazzaz system. So that's just going to be coming back, kind of sitting actually on top of the airbox, I believe. This mounts over here. So all this stuff I had to route under the box, and then the kickstand switch is going underneath. Have a new air filter.
I know you told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away. As you fade away.
Yeah, I'm about to fade away, cause every time I wake up I feel like it's Monday. Something's going wrong with all the chemicals up in my brain. All of a sudden I don't look at anything the same way. Gotta build up of my thoughts sitting in an ashtray. I'm sorry that I'm so inconvenient, okay. Just let me be me and I'll stay out of your way.
Alright, we are getting closer and closer. I pretty much got the entire wiring harness figured out. I haven't got it finished yet. Everything up here is kind of just hanging around still. I haven't figured out what I'm doing with the key switch, so got to figure that out. Got the ECU in. I'm probably going to bypass the bank angle sensor. I've heard on the forum some other people have had issues with it, either not allowing the bike to start or it rattles and stuff like that. So I think it's just two wires you put together, you can get rid of that. Got the ECU in, plugged in, the Bazzaz fuel injection, all that hooked up. This is ready for the tank. I got the Bazzaz running back, and then it pretty much just sits right there. It's only kind of a spot for these Piggyback ECUs. I guess you can put them back here or find another spot. There's not a lot of room on this bike. I do have the 450 RX. Is it 450R? No, 450X rear fender conversion. This is all the signal wiring, so I just had it soldered and heat shrunk before, so spliced. And I think I'm going to make some connectors this time. If I ever go to take the bike apart, I can just unplug a connector. So I bought a kit here off eBay that you make connectors with. I just threw some oil in the bike. I got to wrap up the coolant and the exhaust now, and then I want to see if it'll start, and then I'll finish off the harness and wiring. Yeah, so we're getting there.
I know you told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. I guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away. As you fade away. As you fade away.
Alright, so if you watched the first and I think second, no, just first episode, you'll realize that I Cerakoted my exhaust. This is a FMF, and I powder coated the can. I ripped out all the old packing, so I have new 4-stroke packing.
I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gonna live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad, I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad, doing no cap. Only God wants, so you better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad,
yeah.
Baby, I'm bad.
I just wanna stay bad, stay mad. Chip on my shoulder cause they treat me like an outcast. I ain't gonna take that, stay back. I'll be swinging hard till the hits come in all caps. I ain't gonna lay back, pray that someone's gonna help me. Ain't nobody like that. I ain't gonna wait, that's all fact. Give me one shot and I'll never get the throne back. I'm sick of being cautious, I'ma go cause some pain, can't stop this. I'ma steal everybody's lane, call it shoplift. Sick of hearing everyone complain when they thoughtless. Taste the pain, it's like candy canes. It makes me go change into a better frame, into a better name. Society's insane, we all live for fame, yeah. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gonna live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad, I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad, do it no cap. Only God wants, so you better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad, baby, I'm bad. I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gonna live it up. Baby, I'm bad, I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad, do it no cap. Only God wants, so you better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad, baby, I'm bad. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gonna live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad, I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad, do it no cap. Only God wants, so you better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed.
Alright guys, so this thing's looking pretty sick, and I don't even have the plastics on yet. I'm starting to get excited. All the blacked out stuff is looking really good. Cerakoted exhaust. This is black texture powder coated, black texture powder coated. Some new grip tape here instead of that a Cherubis protectors I was using. I didn't really like those. Blacked out frame, subframe, exhaust pipe, swing arm, wheels. Yeah, and then with this extra clamp, it's gonna be so sick to get this thing together. I'm getting excited. I'm praying I don't have any engine issues. You know, I was pretty crazy digging into the engine like that, and not quite sure what I did is gonna work. But let's try it. I think I'm at the point where I'm ready to start it. I just have the key switch here. Just have the key switch here dangling. Turns on, primes the pump. I have fuel, a little bit of fuel in the tank. Coolant, it's just distilled water. It's full right now, but once the propeller starts moving, it might suck in some more. The exhaust is on, oil's in it. Let me just make sure none of these wires are touching over here. We're good. Everything else is kind of not required. Okay, I just won't have a headlight. Alright. This is the moment of truth. I am like 80% sure it's going to start. I'm kind of worried about mixing up a wire or something wrong with the engine. Alright, let's do this. Didn't start. I'm going to check the kickstand switch. Alright, let's try this again. Put the kickstand on properly. And I think I had the tip over sensor upside down. I don't think it's getting spark. I don't know what's going on. I just thought about it for a second and kind of brought up the instructions for the Bazzaz kit, and yeah, pretty much I left the main power wire off for the Bazzaz, which is right there. It plugs into the red connector, the diagnostic connector, and this gets capped off. So I totally forgot about that. It was kind of tucked in there with the harness, so I didn't come across it when I was kind of wiring shit up here. But yeah, she started, she runs. That was just idle. Topped up the coolant just now. She sounds good, she runs, so. Just finished wrapping up the wiring. Got the signals wired in, the tail light. I made some plugs over here. It's real tedious, takes a long time. I bypassed the kickstand switch. I don't really need that. I've rode lots of bikes that had kickstands and didn't need a kickstand switch. I was able to trim off this bracket and get rid of some wiring. It's not really to save weight, it's just, you know, if your kickstand switch gets damaged on the trail, then you're shit out of luck. You got to splice on the side of the trail. So this way it's already spliced. I bypassed the tip over sensor, bank angle sensor. That's the wiring there. What else did I do? Yeah, I think that's it. Bike's pretty much ready for the rest of the plastics. And then a dyno tune. The ceramic coating was chipping off this pipe. I let it run real hot, and I think these pipes run too hot for ceramic coating, but I think this pipe's still okay. It was chipping off right in this corner, so maybe I'll try and re-ceramic coat it one day, or just leave it like that. Yeah, alright, let's start putting on the other plastics. officially done the CRF450L. Man, it turned out really good. It's looking amazing. Everything blacked out, swing arm, exhaust, main frame. Some black, a little bit more black in the graphics, and I did the black front fairing and front fender. Looks so good. So I just did a little test ride, making sure it can run. It felt a little weird to me. It sounds a lot different. I did repack the exhaust. It just feels foreign. It starts up. There is a little bit of smoke coming out the vent for the crankcase vent. I'm not too sure about that. I'm gonna go check my oil, make sure everything's lubed up nice. I didn't throw my license plate bracket on yet. It just hangs back here. So I'll probably throw it in the truck tomorrow and bring it down to the dyno. Alright guys, thanks for watching the build. The bike's pretty much wrapped up, just gotta get it tuned. Hopefully nothing happens on the dyno. It started right up, didn't have any issues really. Bike's actually pretty fun to work on. It is a lot of work with that harness and everything, but once you get it dialed in, it looks amazing. I can't wait to take it out and show it off, and yeah, it's turned out amazing. Thanks for watching. I got a lot more Supermoto and dirt bike stuff coming in the future, so consider subscribing, and thanks a lot guys.